All right, so wish. We're gonna do a wish worth making. I'm gonna do this with Julia Michaels, but then we are co-writing it with Julia Michaels, and then like Danielle Farm and I are gonna like sing it because I like Danielle Farm, like Song Me 451 and Chang, because that's me and Danielle. But like that's also what it is. It's frustrating because Danielle Farm was like a dam that was made to try to attack the magic. And so it's like it's frustrating because she didn't do that. That's the whole thing with Eros and like Hercules and Hades and Megara. It's just like I just don't fuck with that. But anyway, so like that's what's happening. So me and Danielle, it's like the water. So like the dam wasn't shrinking our water. So we're gonna like soothe that. We're gonna thaw that. We're gonna rise ourselves out of this river in this Witch Worth Making movie. There's like there's sand in the ocean, right? And that was where Elsa was battling or whatever. And it's like there's sand in there, and like we're gonna like rise the sand out of the like the depths of Atahalan, which again we did that already. So like I've already detailed that. So that's been in some of the promos. But like this is really interesting because like this like the abyss, like the dark abyss, that is Atlantis. I figured that out. Like the dark abyss that's in the God's Reign book, plural. Like the dark abyss that is in that book is Atlantis, and that was why everyone spent their life trying to put it into words. And that was why like I See the Light was entangled because it was a water movie, and like the fire arrow that I shot on my ceiling tile, it's arrows, but it's a water arrows, watercolor. It was made with paint, and so like I think that was the whole point of Tingle is that like it's a water movie and like it's like fun to write about dragons and like us that might have been why they introduced me to Danielle Font. She's Asian and like Asian culture there are water dragons, so like they were trying to be like, hey, there are water dragons and like bran flakes, like your bran flakes, and like that was what was happening. And they were trying to be like, hey, bran flakes and paper towels and like raisins and Sunmade and like Corona. That was the whole point of the movie. But like, it also wasn't necessary to make the movie at all, which is also why it was frustrating. Because it's like, it was totally unnecessary to even make a movie because I was practicing writing as a teenager. So it's like, that was what it was. It was like really frustrating because people were being like, hey, like your raisin bran and your bran flakes and like that's important, but like it also wasn't necessary because I was practicing writing because I'm a liberal. And so it's like that was why Corona was blue and why Show Yourself was so blue and powerful, because it was a fantasy story and it was practice because I was a teenager. Like that's why it was so frustrating. But and also like the Goosebumps thing and like all of this stuff that has been happening because it was there was a trick that happened in Aladdin and like the microphones in Aladdin, it's a trick. The cell phones, it's that's what it is. And so Atlantis, the dark abyss that is the darkness, the dark abyss, it's that's where Atlantis sank to because I could sense it because I was getting gaslit by Mother Gothel. Like that's the whole point of the movie. It's actually really funny. So in the like we just did like the Novera just happened, the final battle for the Healing Realm just happened. And so this Julia Michaels wish worth making that manifested after that. So that's actually really cool because that is like, oh, Julia Michaels, like I don't know if she like received my signal and was like, oh, the 11 Realms battle, and then like so that incorporates either she received that specifically and then was like, oh, let's do the animation for this song that we co-wrote together and have been like singing together. I don't know if she specifically like received that and then like she was like, oh yeah, let's do this because like I have received your transmission, or if it was like just the Wish team in general was like, oh, it's December 1st, so this is the day we were gonna post this anyways. I don't necessarily know which of those things happened, but we're figuring that out. And it's fun. But yeah, like that's what's happening. Also, the Agnar and Iduna photos that are in at the end of Frozen 2, that is the scene where Rafiki is like Simba is alive. He's drawing a painting on a tree. That's what That's what that is. Like Anna made that in Arendelle because I was talking to them. I was talking to Los Angeles for the first time. The wind was talking for the first time. She said talking, not howling, but then I was howling because I can do both. But yeah, like that was what was happening though. Is it's like the wind was talking, and then so like that was also what happened with Rafiki. Like the wind is like that's what the scene is with the Arendelle and the Enchanted Forest actually is like they're communicating with Gale and like the wind spirit because like they learned that Agnar was alive and she made the statues or that is literally Agnar. We've gone over that already. Like that it might literally just be me and Arendelle like dying or whatever. But either way, what that statue is, whether that is literally me or not, is Agnar is alive. Like Simba is alive. I posted a photo of Simba in that the time frame of that movie. And so like that's what the statue actually is. Simba is alive. Like that's what that is. Rafiki carves Simba a photo like a painting of Simba on a tree with a fruit, with a smashed fruit, with the juice of a fruit on a tree in Lion King. And so like that's what that statue is at the end of the movie is Simba is alive. And then like Elsa goes to Ahtohallan and they're communicating with Gale because like they were like she said we're going for a ride when we come. It's like they were going like said people usually start looking for a miracle because they were looking for Eugene because Arendelle should stand with Eugene. That was what the whole point of the movie was is that was what happened at the end of the film and it's awesome. Also, she even says, our lands and people not connected by love. And then, like, King Runard said, our neighbors are friends. The time has come for you. Like, it is time, Rafiki. It's time already, long live the king. Like, that's what happened at the end of the movie. Because she's saying, that's the whole point of the end of the film, is Agnar is alive. Eugene is alive. She didn't necessarily know where he was, I don't think, because like we see the deleted scene where Agnar is like in those leaves, and so like, but she didn't see that. So like, I don't think that she knows that that is possibly actually him. Because like I don't know if Elsa knew that that was actually Agnar in the Enchanted Forest. Like that was actually literally me in the Enchanted Forest, just like hanging out with his book, because none of the shit is real. It's goosebumps. And so, like, I don't know if Elsa knew that that was literally him, but she was going to Ahtohallan at the end of the movie, which is like San Francisco, which also makes sense because the mist has to close and there's like a police like station in San Francisco. So like that was where she was going. Is that like I don't necessarily think that it means that everybody who goes there is going to prison. I think it just means that there is a prison there because there's a prison in San Francisco. But like Otto Holland, like if you look at Hito riding Baymax to San Francisco, that is the same scene as the Otto Holland scene in Corona and there's police horses in Corona, and there's a police station in San Francisco. So like that was what was happening. Somebody was getting arrested, and at the end of Frozen 2, it didn't necessarily say who it was, but like Elsa and the Knock were going to Ahtohallan, and somebody was getting arrested in Ahtohallan. And I think Agnar made all of the spirits in the Enchanted Forest. I think that was the whole point of the story is that like in the first movie they're going to find Elsa and like she makes Marshmallow and Olaf and they're alive. And then she's trying to go to Ahtohallan and then like Agnar makes the knock and is trying to drown that bitch. And it's really funny. But like I think that that's what's happening is it's like she is like going to Ahtohallan because like he makes the knock because he's like she's like going there and like I think that that's the whole point of the movie is because like she is trying to get to Ahtohallan because like she knows that she's like sensing something there or something but Agnar is like sending this like the knock after her I think because like, and that might even be kind of something that's happening with Magnifico and Asha. It's because Agnar is in there with his book, and then like these red people, just like the red people were trying to attack Elsa, like these red people are trying to um, trying to like force these consequences on Agnar for his writing. That's what she said. Runar betrayed everybody because like these red people are trying to force these consequences on these like physical consequences on Agnar for his writing, but he didn't fucking do anything. Like he's writing stuff that's kind of negative, and like Elsa doesn't mind it. Anna does. That's why it's taking her forever, and that's why Agnar doesn't fuck with Anna because she's slow. And I think that that's the whole point of the movie is that like Anna is like taking forever to do everything, and like Agnar is like doesn't fuck with it because she's taking too long. And like I think that's the whole point of the movie. It's like he was watching Game of Thrones, he was just hanging out in there in the Enchanted Forest, like doing awesome stuff, and these red people tried to make it physical, and he was like, "Fuck you, bitch." That was the whole point of the movie. And like Agnar and Elsa are just like hanging out in there because they neither of them gives a fuck about words and freedom of speech. But like it is taking Anna literally like an eternity to do anything because she's fucking retarded. And Agnar's like, "You fucking stupid bitch," and I'm about to have to come to Arendelle. He's like, "I came home, King of Arendelle. Come, my darling, homeward bound. Now at last you can come home, like Hercules." Because that was what was happening. It's like now I have to fucking go to Arendelle and I have to talk to fucking dumbass bitch Anna because she's fucking stupid as shit and she's taking fucking forever to do fucking anything. And like it's so fucking obnoxious. And Agnar is just like, fuck. I have to go to fucking Arendelle and talk to fucking stupid bitch Anna because she's fucking dumb. And she thinks that I'm her father and like Elsa doesn't. And it's just like this is the answer to all the questions. Are you the answer I've been waiting for? The Pointillism painting, the Nelson Atkins Museum. I posted the photo because Anna like made the thing Agnar is alive, and I posted the photo online, and then they brought me here because they were looking for me because I wasn't dead, like Simba. Like that's the whole point of the movie. And like Agnar is like, why is it taking so long? Like it's taking so long because you're dumb and red, and that was like it was so stupid. And like he's just trying to hang out with Elsa in the forest because neither of them gives a shit about words, but Anna's taking forever. And it's like, why is this taking so long? Why do you think I'm actually your father? Why are you so stupid? And it's like that's what the whole thing is. That's what the scene is. But anyways, it's funny. So then like there's this statue in there because like he's like I posted that daughter song, but he's also like it's a father figure. It's not a real thing. But honest, it's taking her too long to figure that out. And like Elsa figured it out really fast. That's why I fuck with Elsa. I don't fuck with Anna because she's stupid. And like that was the whole point of the movie. But anyways, so then like so now let's do this water restoration scene. So like this sand and like that was kind of me like guiding Elsa and like the sand is important because like the sand in the in Ahtohallan, which is presumably at the depths of the ocean, but that's what Agnar's power is. That's why he's blonde. And like Elsa's hair is sand. It's not ice. It looks like ice, but you can very clearly see that Anna's hair is white. Elsa's hair is like yellow gold because her power is sand. Anna got struck with ice, which is a power of Elsa's, but it's not her all of what she does. And so like that's why it's so frustrating because like Agnar is like Ventus like asleep on the throne more or less. And like she is like going there and like there was a thing with Aqua, the battle with Aqua and Mickey battled Aqua and Kingdom Hearts. And so all of these things like the day all worlds were one is kind of what was happening. And then there was like the nominee situation and like I know your name like Tafiti and like the Elsa dress transformation because like Agnar was telling Elsa in the forest, like I'm telling Elsa now, that I was like, I like you, Danielle. Like I didn't see you as a mirror of myself because I'm not stupid and I don't need that. And then secondly, like you can cosplay as Daniel Radcliffe or whatever if you want to. Like people can do that, like as long as people know that it's fun, like that it's for funsies. But then there are also people who are cosplaying, but they were also trying to get my attention and tell me that like I was being exploited. So like there was all of these things happening. And so like in Alta Holland, Agnar is like telling Elsa that he like appreciates that, but also that he didn't really need her to be a mirror of himself because she is her own person like Naminé. And that's why it has to be me, like Ventus, Sora. That's the whole point. But it was like this wasn't necessary at all. But like there was this like this whole like culture war, ego battle, identity politics like struggle of like I like you as you are, like someone like me. Like I like you as you are. I don't need you to like be a mirror of me or something. Like you're I didn't and anytime that I was talking to her, I was like, you are an individual that I'm talking to. I'm not talking to like a slave or like somebody who is like mirroring me. I don't do that. And that's the whole that's like why that was the whole point of what was happening in Ottawa. It's like you are your own person. Like I like you as you are. I like to hang out with you. Like you're really cool and you're smart and you're funny. I don't think think that you are literally me. That's the whole point of the story. But anyways, like that's what it is. It's pretend. It's fun. And that was what was happening in Kanto. Is we were just hanging out. We're like, oh, we really like each other. We're like rivals, and we're like competing with each other, but we're also like having a great time because it's all for fun. But then like someone tried to make it not for fun, and then we were like, this is stupid. That was the whole point of the story. But anyways, yeah, so like that's what was happening. And so then also like I obviously see her as a woman. Like that's the whole point. If I didn't see her as somebody who was like a beard or somebody who was like a stand-in for Daniel Radcliffe or a stand-in for some guy or something, I was like, no, I like Danielle Baum, this specific little Asian girl, like with the Dawn, what comes in, because there was a character named Dawn in my story who was like older than Danielle, but also like it wasn't a real person. It was just kind of inspired by her, but I wasn't like it wasn't a replacement. It wasn't a real person at all. That was the whole point of the story. Like Once Upon a December, I was just like recollecting people that I knew because I liked them, and I got kidnapped, and they didn't know that I got kidnapped, and so like that's the whole point of the story. But anyways, so like that's what was happening, and that was what happened in Kanto. People started piecing it together. They were like, "Oh, you're getting really exploited," and I was like, "Yeah, I am." And so like that was what was happening. It's like so then we cleared up these misconceptions, and it was like, "Oh, that's what's actually happening." And I was like, "Yes, I actually like this specific girl. Like she's cool. I like her. She is entertaining, but I'm not talking to a guy. Like I'm not like seeing her as a guy that is like pretending to be a girl. I was talking to her. Like and that's what she said. It was the first time that a pureblood had shown her kindness. Because that was the point. Is I was like, I'm not interested in this. I don't need this. I don't need some person like to be like, oh, here's this girl, and then like, oh, just kidding, like here's this guy that you can be friends with now that like you talk to this girl or whatever. And I'm like, no, I liked her. And so it's like, what are you talking about? Well, I was like, I don't want to have sex with her. Like I wasn't trying to date her. I want to have a boyfriend, and I want to have a friend that is a female because she's funny. And so I was like, this is so stupid. I was so infuriated. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, like so that's what's happening. But okay, so now let's do this. Now let's do this fire thing. Okay, because that's what it is. Simba is alive. Like Agnar is alive. Because that means that I literally didn't die in that car accident, but it also it's like I literally like didn't get converted. Like I'm alive. Like I am the same. Like everything will never be the same again. Like I am the same. I am gay. They didn't convert me. Like Agnar is alive. That is the second movie. Jennifer Lee was like, "Oh, this is a complete story, and it's not going to be a trilogy." And then they were like, "Oh, Frozen 3." And I'm like, "Bitch, I knew that already because I could see on the logo that it was only halfway like unfrozen. It's only halfway thawed." And I was like, "Bitch, I fucking know that there's going to be a third movie." And then what happened? There was a third movie. That's the whole point. I was like, I'm not fucking stupid, Jennifer Lee. But like, so that's what happened anyway. It's fine. But so then I posted that Eugene thing on the internet, and people were like, "Oh yeah." She also told me that there was a gay character in the story, Agnar, but we have to break the dam first. Because I was like, I'm not fucking doing this shit in therapy. And so like that's what was happening. I was like, yeah, you can depict a gay character of me, but you're not about to fucking like therapy trash it, though. And so that's what was happening. Is I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. If you're gonna depict me as a gay character, you're depicting me as a gay character with rights, bitch. But yeah, so like that's what was happening. And so now let's go over like the sand. So like the time the Julia Michaels Wish Worth Making like animated scene was posted earlier today, several hours ago. But I'm gonna post that. Oh, like so that was posted earlier today before I actually did this recording session. And so I am doing this recording session so that we can animate this into the video, but I'm putting a caveat on it, which is like we said this already, but like I'm putting this caveat on it of like we have to like get to the point where where the timestamps like I'm mastering time, so we have to get to the point where the timestamps are in line with when it was actually posted. Because like I was doing this thing in Miriam where I was like freeze this video in time or whatever, and I think I can actually do that. Like There's something wrong with him. He can freeze people. Like I think that I can actually literally do that. Is that it's like I can like I was doing that thing where I was like freeze this YouTube in time, and I froze all of YouTube in time actually. And I wonder if that's actually what happened. Like that's what the movie is. But like I think that that's what it is. Like I actually can literally do that, which is really funny. But yeah, so like I can literally freeze things in time. So then I unfroze it. I learned both of these powers, and so now let's do an awakening signal, like a lasting awakening signal of like I'm awakening. I'm remembering that I know how to do that. So I'm sure you guys are probably looking for it. So that just happened. Also, the Spring Hill Dawn photo, like I'm sure this the like Bunker Hill, like this city was probably trying to have me post a photo of my like head, like my brain city, and then have this be the city. That's probably what they were trying to earn. So that's probably a thing. Like Beauty and the Beast was in the title in the teaser trailer. So maybe that's what they were trying to earn, and then that happened yesterday, and then so that was probably in the animated or in the animated wish a wish worth making thing. So how about this is what we do? How about what we do is a wish worth making is like we have the animated Dawn photo of my it's not it doesn't say Dawn. So we have the Dawn photo, which was like in Encanto, but they were probably trying to earn my actual brain, like the real you, not just a wish in the stars. They were probably trying to earn my actual neurological brain city in this city with the actual city. So we just did that yesterday. So like Encanto has the dawn on it, which was like kind of a Tikka sort of thing because the dam hadn't been broken yet, and um, that's like the identity thief references were there or whatever. And so like the dam hasn't been broken yet, and like the identity thief thing had to be like kind of uncovered. And so that has happened. And so then the wish worth making animated scene, like that can be a point in time where we're like, okay, so this scene is the scene where he like did where we earned it, and I did my like my actual me with my head or whatever. And so that's where the timestamp can be. And then we're gonna do this scene where I've actually done like the verbal context. And so we'll have like these two timestamps where it's like we have the one with the verbal context and the one with my head that doesn't have the dawn on it. And so we'll have those be like our time frame. And so then like we'll have those there. And so like what that can symbolize is it is imperative that we have the dates accurately reflect when the video was posted so that people click on something and I'm like freezing that in time. That is a power that I have. So when people click on something, they're aware this was uploaded at this point in time on this day. And I know that that's the whole point of the dam because they didn't want people to know precisely when things happened. That was the whole point because they were trying to make a frenzy. They were trying to make people, they were sabotaging it. So like that was the whole point of the story. So like it is imperative that we correct that sabotage. And so we have these 2 points in time, these time frames, and it's like the photo of my head in Spring Hill is the that was where the video was actually literally posted. Like we know that that photo was posted before they uploaded the Wish was making animated scenes. So that is like, as for authenticity and accountability, like we are aware that it is actually possible that this information, this material, was actually in this scene, like the scene that they actually uploaded for like authenticity and accountability. And so then this scene is kind of like the control group, like this kind of is like the time frame of like the control group of hey, this is when we actually like did the context for the film, and so we'll have be able to juxtapose these two things and be like, oh, okay, so this is actually like what has like the reference material because it was important that I added this context to it so that we like animated this properly, but we also have to be aware that like we are transitioning to smoothing out the time. And so like the water where Elsa is, that is all thawing, and that is like the new city that we're building. So like that's my brain city, that's all thawing. That's like, like cerebrospinal fluid. Like that's what all of that is. And the sand is like the time reconstructing in my brain. And we posted those water links and the gold, like, that gold imagery of the brain that was even in Strange World. So like these things are kind of coalescing, and so like we have this like neurological map of like we're aware, like awakening signal, we're like aware that we have to be like it is imperative that we correct this time, but we also are like not like getting ahead of ourselves. We know that it hasn't been fully corrected yet. The dam hasn't been fully broken yet. We haven't fully arrived there yet, but we are aware so people can see like, oh, we're on course. So it's kind of like the Titanic was sinking. Like the Minecraft game was a Titanic game that was sinking. But just like in Passengers, we arrived there and we like reconstructed the ship and it did not sink because our ship is better than the Titanic. And so like that's the whole point of the story. It's like we're on course now. The ship is on course now and it's fine. So like that's really great. It didn't sink. I don't know. It didn't sink. The ship didn't sink and it's on course. So we're good. And so that's really important. Also, passengers. I said before we got here, make it look like the ship from Passengers. So that's also important because at the end of that movie, you don't actually know if Aurora and Pratt's character, like Chris Pine, you don't actually know if Aurora and Chris Pratt's character like die. Like all you see is like like the ship arrived to Homestead too, but like it was a giant ship, and most of the people were asleep. So all you really see is people waking up, and you hear Jennifer Lawrence's character like doing a voiceover or whatever. Also, Lawrence Fishburne, Jennifer Lawrence, is that the same character? Because was that me on the cross? Possibly is an ice cross, and she was cryogenically frozen, and it was like an enchantment. It's like a river, so that could have literally been me. That's very possible. But anyways, so like that's really interesting. I think that would be really interesting to see if because like you also there are scenes where Aurora is in Sleeping Beauty. So there are scenes where Aurora is talking to Chris Pratt's character and he's talking to her and the he's talking to her and the like the microphones in the on the ship or whatever and she doesn't want him to talk to him because like he's stalking her because like he woke her up on the ship and she didn't want to be woken up. And so like I think that that's the whole point of the movie is that maybe that was what happened at the end of the film is like you hear Aurora's like voiceover, but maybe she's actually talking to them because maybe she fixed the auto doll. And like the movie wasn't finished then, or like I hadn't finished reconstructed the game yet, so like they didn't know how it was gonna play out. So it was all modeled after Fable. So like they didn't know how it was going to play out, but I think that where we are now is it did play out because I did go and reconstruct. Because that was the whole thing is that there was only one auto dock and they couldn't both go back to sleep or whatever. So and like if they both can hold your heart, so maybe that's what happened. 'Cause I did go and reconstruct the other game and I thought the cross and I like got my soul out of the river or out of the fountain. So like maybe that is actually what happened at the end of the movie because that none of these movies actually I don't think ended. Like since I made the Minecraft game and the ship hit the iceberg, like I don't know if any of these like I don't know if any of the movies that were made actually had endings. And so like I wonder if like this is the ending of the Passengers movie, which is that like maybe it was actually Aurora that was actually literally talking to everyone on the microphones and it's like, hey, this is what happened. Like you all like we all got knocked unconscious. We both thought that we were gonna die. Like we both thought we were gonna die. And so like that's why all these greenery and stuff is happening because we were just like hanging out because like we didn't know there was only one auto dock, but maybe they just built another auto dock. Or maybe because again, they were on the ship for a long time. So like the like initial thing that you would think in your brain is that they died and then like the people like arrived to Homestead too and then they just had this like story of what happened to them or whatever. But it's actually very possible that they all just woke up and Aurora is just talking to them and is just telling them like, oh yeah, like we like saved this ship, it almost blew up, but then we saved it and like it's cool now. And like, because we've like, we reconstructed the auto dock or we just built another one. Because they were on the ship for like ever. So like, I think that that's the whole point, is it is probably implied that they had plenty of time. I mean, it is implied that they have plenty of time to like learn how to build another auto dock. Because that was the whole point. Like, they were saying like she like only wanted to go back to sleep, and then one of them would have been trapped on the ship forever like awake forever. But then they didn't do that, and so maybe that was actually what happened is that there was a ton of time left, and so like you would think like the initial thought is that it's like they probably just died on the ship, but it's actually very possible that since they had a ton of time and since they didn't like strand the other one, they probably would have had time to like figure out how to make another Autodoc, or if there was another one that they had not seen, because all of these were spur of the moment things that were happening in the heat of the moment because they thought that they were going to die. So like if you were to think about it, there's all of these grass and this greenery that had grown and stuff, and there was like these little tree houses that they made. So it was very possible that like since with it was green, it was on fire, but then it was green because they like extinguished the fire and they healed the ship. So like you would think that actually they probably had time once they like had gotten themselves together to be like, oh, we thought we were gonna die then, so we didn't know how to make another Autodoc or we didn't know how to fix this one or whatever. But then like there was time, and they were like, oh, now that like things have settled, like we can just be like, oh, let's just make another one. Let's just learn how to make another one. They were trying to learn how to make a door, I think, at one point. So they probably they had plenty of time to learn how to build another Autodoc, and possibly they went back to sleep and didn't actually die. And then when all the people woke up, she might have actually literally been talking to them and being like, hey, I know you guys think that I'm dead probably, but I'm actually not. And I'm just like telling you this story about this Autodoc because we made two of them when we went back to sleep, and now we're all awake at the same time. That's probably what actually happened. Boom. Okay, but anyways, and then lastly, so now let's go over like the water scene and like this inner piece double L water scene because I'm like really interested to see this scene in the Wish Worth Making, the end of the time frame, like the scene where it's like a shower. 'Cause remember they said show yourself because it was like Beauty and the Beast. I had gotten trapped in Kansas. And like I like had like Eugene says, my real name is Eugene Fitzherbert. Like he actually just was like forced into an unhygienic situation because he got kidnapped. And so I think that that's what it, like show yourself is like a shower because like and also it was a meteor shower. That's also important because my ceiling tile I shot an arrow into the sky. I've also uploaded these photos which are also in the beginning of the time frame. So like it was a meteor shower. That's what the thing is. I shot the arrow at the sun and there was a meteor shower. So like that's also important because she said show yourself because they found me, like the person, the Corona person. They found me. But then also my friends were depressed because that was the whole point. Entangled, like Eugene and Rapunzel are dancing in the kingdom dance, but like everybody doesn't know that it's them the whole time. Like they don't know she's kidnapped when they meet her. So like I think that that's the whole point of the movie. Is that it's like I went to Corona, but like not everybody knew that I was kidnapped when they were like all the people that Elsa knows in Arendelle, they don't know that she is kidnapped. Or like Agnar, for example, like they didn't know where Agnar was. He's the king, but they didn't know what happened to him. He was just lost in the forest or whatever. And so like I think that that was what happened. Is it's like he like Agnar like is they don't know. I think what is actually happening is just like how the people who meet Rapunzel don't know that Rapunzel is the lost princess or whatever. Like they don't know that. And then like in Corona in Arendelle, like I think people don't know that Agnar is Elsa and that like the Elsa that they've been hanging out with is Agnar's soul because Agnar's soul was drowning in the river. So like I think that that was the whole point of what happened is that they didn't know that Agnar's soul was in the river. And so like when he comes back there, like he is there as like he came out of the river, so he is there as whatever that makes me. Like I'm here as whatever it makes me that I came out of this river. But I'm alive. I just came out of this river, and people didn't know that. They didn't know that I was lost, like the lost empire of Atlantis. That's the whole point of the movie. It's like the dark abyss. That was what it was. And that was what it was. They were restoring the light because she said hello darkness, but like they were restoring the light because Elsa comes out with the river and like she comes out and she maybe that's even what it is because she even makes a new Olaf because Olaf dies in Alta Holland, she dies in Alta Holland, but then she like makes a new one and like she makes Agnar and Iduna and she puts them in Arendelle. That's the same thing because the river Alta Holland, that is Agnar. Like, she brought me back with her and she put me there. It's like she put Olaf there. It's funny as hell. And she put Bruni in the forest to thaw. I figured all of this shit out. And so like that was what happened. And so I think what would be really interesting is like we have this sand and this water because it's like show yourself water scene because that was what it was. It was about a meteor shower. It was about a shower and a clean hygienic shower. That's what it is. And so it's like it's showing, and also Clopen. Clopen's water in his feet. It's like water because like I pretend to do things because it's funny. And so like Agnar is there, and he's like, "Oh, hey everyone, hi. I was just like trapped in Kansas, and I had to like pretend like I cared about religious people for a while, but like I am here and I am home and I'm in Arendelle and I'm just like, hi everyone. And like, so let's do this kind of like water scene of like how like the with similar like aesthetic of like how there is water in the Clopen scene and like how there is water in Eugene's flood, there's water in the Arendelle flood, and then like that gentle wind that you see in the Wish trailer, and then like the wind spirit scenes that where Agnar and Aduna are playing in the deleted scene. So like and then the little blue e boy that's in the Wish movie. So like, let's just do like a little water scene that is like Agnar showering that like because like admit they said Tarzan is covered in mud because Tarzan is the arrow statue, and so like Agnar is just like doing this kind of water wind scene where he's like washing this like whatever that bronze or gold that is on his body in Arendelle is like, so that's like the scene where like kind of how the lightning strike and then like the statues in Hercules can talk, or like how the rock trolls can come to life, or how maybe even that was a trick, like the statue talking is a trick, because we also the gargoyles talk in France, in Paris. We don't know how much of what has happened in my life in these films were a trick. But I'm just kind of connecting these dots for people so that we can investigate and see if any of it was a trick. But it would be super cool to see if like, because also the arrow statue is in A Whole New World in Aladdin, and so maybe that was also what was happening, because in Hunchback the gargoyles can talk, and like Frollo was jealous of Arrow, so like that makes sense. That could have been like he could have made that 'cause he was telling Quasimodo that he was ugly, even though like he probably isn't. And like he also that baby, like he might have kidnapped the baby, like from Aladdin. Like that might be um Arrows, and he just kidnapped him and was telling him like gaslighting him because he was jealous. So that's also possible. But so like yeah, that because it was gay conversion, like so that was probably what was happening, is he was disgusting, and so like that could have been it. I'm just throwing that out there so that people like can investigate it. But yeah, so like that's what it is, and so like it would be really cool to see this like water scene where like Agnar is in the forest and he's kind of like he's like awakening like Ventus, like because there was a battle happening, and that was why he woke up. 'Cause there was this battle happening, same thing that was happening with Aqua and Benitez and Xehanort. It's like in their mastery exams, and this was an exam that I was doing. And so like there was a timed exam. So like in a allotted time, in a allotted time, there was I had to do this within the allotted time. Like so, it's December 1st, and Agnar's like, oh, hello, I'm awake, I'm awakening, and I'm just like, oh, hello, everybody. And like you see them doing this water wind scene, just washing this like mud off of his body or like whatever it is, and he's just like, oh, hello. Hi, Erndo. Hello, people. Elsa just like brought me here, and I'm just like, hi, everyone. Like, hi, everybody. You guys were just hanging out with my soul. You didn't know it was my soul, but you were just hanging out with my soul, Elsa. And I'm just like, hi, everyone. I'm the Arrow statue. You were hanging out with my soul, and like I just dropped my enchantment. I'm like, hi everybody, hey people. I'm just like washing this water off of myself, and I'm like, hi, hi, hello. Here's my authentic voice. It's like, hi, hi, Arendelle. And it's just be really funny. I think it'd be really cool, and like have it have this kind of like inner peace, like aesthetic, and this wind is just like very gently and breezily, like washing this like mud off of my body, and you see Agnar's like beautiful gold hair just like be washed like in like the flood and Tangled and like the flood and Frozen 2, and you just see all this beautiful like wind and water just like washing this like all of the inauthenticness off of me, and just like restoring myself to everything that has been like deemed authentic by myself in the same fellowship. And it would just be like in like fully blue, full freedom of speech, just as blue gets. And it would just be so beautiful, like the Israel flag, Native America, all of the beautifulest blue things that have ever blued. And it would just be so beautiful, the Blue Neighborhood trilogy, four of the Blue Neighborhood trilogy. It would just be so beautiful. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so that's what we should do. Because again, it's Frozen. I don't need money. They were looking for somebody who didn't have any money. Me. That's why he's a statue, I bet. Because like they were looking for someone who was immobile because he didn't have any money. because it also is, that's also important because like Kido specifically says I have more money in Big Hero 6, which is Ata Holland. And so like there's I think that was like a clue because they were looking for somebody who is like trapped or stuck in the past, and they were looking for somebody who is trapped in the past. I think because I don't really need money, but I got kidnapped, and they were trying to force me to need money. So that was how they were looking for that specific person, and the person who could actually tell them like, yeah, that's what's happening. Like that's who you're looking for, and that's who I am. So like that would be really interesting because like that's what the fountain is, and that's what that statue is it has water in it, but people don't really can't really tell that it does. And like even at the beginning of the film, you see that like podium, and you see like there's this like thing that look this like kind of triangular pyramid thing that looks like it opens. And so like maybe that's just what it is. It's like what that scene could be is like sort of the equivalent of that thing opening and Agnar just being like, oh, hello, and doing this beautiful like I'm telling you, like I'm actually animating. We're gonna animate this now, like what it actually looks like when that mist opens in Arendelle. Because I mean, it has it can look multiple ways, but like one of the ways that it can look in Arendelle is like it's just like this beautiful mist opening, just like kind of how the rock trolls come to life when you start talking to them. Like this beautiful like that. So like the pyramid that Elsa and Anna are at, like in the beginning of the movie, like that opens up, and then you see this like beautiful wind, this dazzling wind show, and you're like, oh, hello. And Agnar is just kind of like showing himself in Arendelle and just like washing this water off of his body and like washing the oldness off of his body. Like the I'll show myself in Arendelle with power so complete. That statue of Magnifico um that's in Arendelle, which again that was made with the selfless thing of Bob Iger or whatever. So like that was intentional. Like so people have the reference as like it looks old because somebody was controlling my body. That's what the enchantment is. It's like the ugliness melts away because that was somebody controlling my body. We broke the dam, and that was why there's like a young Agnar statue in Arendelle. And so this like and like what they were taking a stand against in Magnifico was the selfless person, like the person that was like controlling my body because they were trying to get Agnar and be like, hey, this is a human being. But yeah, and so like I think what would be really beautiful is if we see like this like beautiful wind, like in this beautiful mist and like this water just like cascading upon Agnar, just like washing the like washing the like mud and gold and bronze off of his body, and he's just like, oh, hello. Hi everyone. My body was glowing because I was coming out of this river. And I was coming out of this river with my friend's soul, my friend Danielle's soul. And I was like, hi everybody. I'm Agnar. I'm the king of Arendelle. I just came home, king of Arendelle. It's like, hello. Hello, I just did this audition. I'm bridging the magic of nature and our actual world. And I'm just like, hello, Arendelle. I just came home, king of Arendelle. I'm Eugene. I'm Agnar. I'm Eugene Fitzherbert. I'm Agnar of the Southern Isles. And I just came home, king of Arendelle.